Hello viewers, thanks for joining us for another episode of Centrally Speaking. We do this every Thursday so that you can learn about the work and function of Jamaica's central bank, Bank of Jamaica.
Welcome back, viewers. Centrally Speaking is a program that opens up the conversation around important matters of economics and finance, matters of national importance that have an impact on your life.
Sheena?
Yeah.
What you do?
I'm good enough.
Yeah. So, the other day, I in one store. I'm not tell you which store.
All right.
But guess what in there?
I don't know, Christmas?
Christmas decoration, girl. I say, already?
Yeah.
Another Christmas in a pandemic.
Oh gosh, but you know, I know, growing up, I remember every time Christmas came around, we changed the bedspread, we buy a new bedspread.
Sheet.
A new curtain.
All patsy. Take down everything.
Oh,
Wash.
gosh.
New.
Everything nice.
So. Dial up on table.
Daily. A runner.
A runner.
Runner.
Yeah, man. I have the runner for the settee.
And the one for the dress, a
And the
dresser.
runner for the dresser.
Yeah, man, because if you ever not put the things in it and it mark the dresser, that's it all.
And that.
Mama used to be.
At the work, we come with Christmas.
Oh.
Wash, clean, everything. Patsy have your work, you know. But anyway. Oh, good. So we're not talking about Christmas today.
Our guest is Mr. Everton McFarlane, who is the Executive Director of the Financial Services Commission, and he'll fill us in on the role and function of FSC. Anna, do you know what FSC is, or what they represent?
Perhaps not the roles and responsibilities, but I do know the function of the FSC formed in response to the financial sector crisis of the 90s. You know,
Late 90s.
Late 90s. So we had a serious meltdown, which of course resulted in a lot of displacement for businesses and individuals. So from what I know, the FSC was formed in response to that. Oh, yeah, smile so far.
Look at your braids. Your braids. I'm impressed. All right, so our special guest will expand on what Anna just said and share with us the very important role of the FSC right after we come back from the streets.
What are your thoughts on how Jamaica's financial system is regulated?
I don't think it's regulated properly in terms of there's too much free range with the banks when it comes to person's money and even data security with the banks, because we all know that there are lots of scamming going on in terms of person's accounts being secured or not. Banks are allowed to do what they want to do in terms of interest rates or whatever it is that they want to determine. And I don't think there are enough policies that are governing that right now, because when persons lose their money at the bank and they want to find out what to do, if it is that you go to a public agency on your behalf as a consumer, they're going to point you right back to the bank. And it's really up to their detriment whether or not they want to help you. So I don't think there are enough policies right now that's governing the private sector in terms of financially.
I don't believe the Jamaican system is properly regulated. Why do I think that is? Because there's financial interests, there's private companies and private corporations that influence the government, so to speak.
There's a lot of development going on, but a lot of things don't benefit Jamaicans, and a lot of opportunities not expand to Jamaicans. So other outsiders are the one who is benefiting right now.
The bank do their own thing, so we need them to do more to finance the people them, so everything can work out. Everybody do their own thing, so we need them to step up.
You have your money in the bank and say, like, for instance, you go overseas and come back and it pass like 6-7 months. A problem for you get back your own money. You have to go through this and go through that to get back your own money you save. So I think them need to look more better than that.
Yeah, I've seen some initiatives that they are doing which are helpful, but I still think they can do more. Especially to protect individual customers, small individual customers. When you think about pensioners and people who have small amounts of money in the banks, but still have to pay exorbitant fees. You know, each time you go to the ATM also, and you pay those exorbitant fees. It's something to look into that they can improve on.
You know, viewers, our friends in the streets, I always thought the things and I keep it real. All right, but before we join our special guest, let's get a good word in from Bank of Jamaica.
Welcome back to Centrally Speaking. Hi, I am Sheena.
And I'm Anna. We are now pleased to welcome for the very first time to the set of Centrally Speaking, Everton McFarlane, the Executive Director of the Financial Services Commission, the FSC. Mr. McFarlane, welcome to Centrally Speaking.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
You know, it's your first time here, so you have to tell us a little thing about, you know, which school you're repping and also which parish are you repping?
There's only one school to rep. That's
Glenmuir?
That's Arden High School.
Oh!
Talk to me nice.
In the parish of
Talk to
Kingston
me
and
nice.
St. Andrew.
Okay, okay. So Arden, pick up yourself. And your parish?
Oh, good.
Kingston and St. Andrew.
Okay.
Oh.
You're born at town?
I was born in Kingston.
Really? People
Okay.
born at town, Mr.
Victoria
McFarlane?
Jubilee.
Really?
Yes.
Are you grew up at town also?
Grew up at town.
So you never come in from country?
No.
Like most of us.
I just had a visa every now and again to go and visit and come back. You know? But I'm a Kingston person.
Okay.
Although I now live in the country, so I straddle both. I love it.
Okay.
All right.
Share with us, what is the Financial Services Commission and what are some of the roles and responsibilities of the entity?
Sure. The Financial Services Commission is the single integrated regulator for the non-deposit taking financial sector, and that includes the security sector, the pension sector, private pension sector, and the insurance sector. And that includes for insurance, both the general insurance industry and the life insurance industry. So in a sense, we regulate financial activity that takes place outside of the banking and other deposit-taking institutions, such as your billing societies and so on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
As far as roles and responsibilities are concerned, we have a number of roles. We are charged with the responsibility to regulate who comes into the industry. And once you're in, we have to monitor and assess on a regular basis how you're performing and whether or not a licensee or registrant is conducting itself appropriate to the requirements of the legislation. We also regulate not just the institutions themselves, but their agents and their authorized representatives who interface with the public. So it's
they're agents?
Yes.
Who are
by agents
right.
meaning for the insurance industry, typically they would conduct their business
through brokers,
and or through agents. I mean, for life insurance, for instance. Right. And those agents have to be registered with the FSC.
Okay.
For securities dealers, they also have what are called dealer representatives who interface with the public, provide advice, and so on. And those dealer representatives have to be registered with the FSC.
So securities brokers, just for persons who are not initiated, stock people who trade in stocks.
Right. These are the institutions that support the public in their investment activity. They provide advice. They take client orders to execute transactions, whether it be on the stock exchange or whether there's a government bond that is coming to the market. They are the ones who interface between the client and the persons who are issuing the securities. They execute orders on behalf of clients. So they are actually the entities that are licensed to deal in securities.
Okay.
You know, meaning to buy and sell. So you can place an order, but you can't actually execute the transaction. A stockbroker, right? But it is the broker who is authorized to conduct the transaction.
Okay.
When you were explaining the roles and functions, you said that you regulate who enters the market.
Yes.
Right. Why would you need to regulate the who?
Well, the first stage of effective regulation is actually at entry.
Right.
So there is a requirement and a need for us to assess the capability, the financial capacity, the governance processes that a particular institution has before we can register or license that entity as having the right to sell certain services to the public. And it includes, you know, looking at significant shareholders, shareholders who hold more than 10% of a particular entity. We have to look and assess what is called their fitness and propriety. We also have to assess the fitness and propriety of all directors of the company. We have to assess the fitness and proprieties of certain senior management, persons who are called responsible officers, who have certain duties, certain duties to report and to ensure, well, first of all, to ensure compliance with an entity, and then to report that to the FSC. We also have to assess the fitness and propriety of the agents, the very agents that we spoke about, whether it be the life insurance agent, whether it be a dealer representative, and so on. We have to assess the fitness and propriety of those persons. So the idea is this: if we can do a good job at the start of screening the entrance, it does a number of things. At the start, it provides a level of confidence in the capacity and the capability of the institution to provide a service, whether it be to sell an insurance policy that is appropriate for you, whether it be to invest your money in a manner that is appropriate, or that they have the financial capability to keep managing those funds in a way that is safe and secure.
So, Mr. McFarlane, why was there a need to establish the FSC?
Sure. The FSC was established as part of a response that policymakers had to the crisis, the financial sector crisis of the mid-1990s, the mid to late 1990s. Policymakers realized from the experiences of the crisis, which was costly. It was costly to both Jamaican society and to the economy. And in order to prevent such an occurrence, they took a very in-depth look at the causes of the crisis. And what was realized, among other things, was that the crisis reflected, in part, a failure of governance within the financial institutions, broadly speaking. Right? You had, not all institutions failed, but certainly for those that failed, there was a failure of governance. It was also recognized too that the regulatory framework was not strong enough to enable regulators to quickly identify and to curtail certain kinds of risky behaviors that had emerged.
Based on what you just said, if an entity fails, what are some of the powers or measures put in place to treat with it?
Well, we would like to intervene long before a company fails.
Right.
So the measures that we have available to us is not just in relation to a failure. It actually speaks to an assessment that we make on an ongoing basis as to the financial health and viability of the institutions that we regulate. And based on that assessment, we are empowered to take corrective action, which may include the FSC giving what are called directions, which are essentially orders for the entity to do certain specific, or to take certain specific actions within a specified frame of time to correct a deficiency. We may also issue a cease and desist order, which is an order to stop doing something. Right? So we can either tell you to do something or we can tell you to stop doing something. We also may take temporary management of a company depending on the circumstances. We may also take steps to suspend or cancel a license or a registration. And in all of those, we are also empowered to enlist the assistance of the courts where necessary to have those orders and directives complied with. So essentially, it's a wide range of tools
that you can apply.
Right, not just at the stage where an entity fails, but empowers us to engage and to intervene before that happens, and to take a range of actions that would seek to reduce severely or significantly reduce the likelihood of a failure.
When exactly was the FSC formed?
The FSC was formed in 2001.
2001.
August 2001. We're actually celebrating our 20th year.
Okay, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right, and since 2001, there has not been a report of a failed entity under your supervision or regulation?
Well, I mean, to be fair, there have been instances when one or other of our licensees have had to exit the market.
Okay.
But we have sought to manage that exit in an orderly way. And of course, you will recall some of the turbulent times in the early 2000s with the unregistered, financial organizations. There may have been public reports about one or two small entities that we had under liquidation and so on. But by and large, we have managed, working together with our stakeholders, including the Bank of Jamaica, the public, and the policymakers, we have managed to avoid the kind of disruptive circumstances that existed in the mid-1990s. But there have been exits.
All right, so based on the roles and responsibilities of FSC, it is evident that you play a big part in financial stability. What is the relationship between FSC and Bank of Jamaica? I would classify that relationship as being a brother and a sister relationship. The one that fights a lot?
I won't say who's a brother and who's a sister, but let us just say that we are or two sisters. Right, but we are both regulators for the financial market. The Bank of Jamaica regulates deposit-taking institutions, banks, billing societies, credit unions, merchant banks. We regulate the non-deposit-taking sector, but oftentimes there is a lot of overlap, primarily because you do have within the same group of companies, you do have a banking entity and a non-deposit-taking entity. And so the Bank of Jamaica is charged with regulating the group, but there's a significant level of collaboration and coordination that occurs with the FSC to ensure that the sector overall, the entire financial sector, is being supervised effectively. So we share information on a routine basis, both supervisory information and information on specific entities that may be of concern. We collaborate with regards to the strengthening of financial sector legislation. And we also participate very actively on certain statutory committees that have been formed by the policymakers to enable the regulators to have a full overview of the financial stability of the sector.
So, Mr. McFarlane, under your regulation, there are about 1,980 licensees. You want to talk to?
Sounds a lot.
You have a lot of work to do.
Sounds a lot, but but I don't want your listeners to get scared. Not all of those licensees or registrants would carry the same level of risk. By and large, with the limited resources that we do have, we focus our attention on where the risk is largest. And that is in regards to the actual institutions who take funds from the public. Whether it be in the form of investments, whether it be in the form of taking money through the offering of a bond to the public or through the offering of shares to the public. Those are the institutions that form the bulk of our regulatory attention. They do employ agents, and we also have to be aware of the conduct of those agents.
So based on what you have just said, because it sounds like a mammoth task, can we ensure FSC's capacity to adequately regulate non-deposit-taking financial institutions?
Sure. I mean, look, there's always need for more resources.
Yes.
Yes, there's always need for more resources. But the fact of the matter is that we have a regulatory approach that is focused on risk. And we're actually strengthening our capability to undertake risk-based supervision. And I would say, as we continue to improve that capability and that focus, we would be in a much better place to ensure that the limited resources that we do have are being utilized in the most effective way. At this point, I would say that we have done a fairly good job. There's always room for improvement, and we get feedback from various stakeholders and licensees when we do not live up to their expectations or to our mandate, and we try to fix those instances. But I mean, yes, the answer is yes. I have every confidence in our ability to continue to supervise effectively.
Right.
I would also say that the investing public has a big role to play in continuing to ensure, in working with us to continue to ensure the safety and soundness of the financial sector. You know, individuals have a duty to know the products that they are that they want to participate in, to know the institutions who offer these products, to know the level of risks that they are willing to take. And, you know, it would be remiss of me to close, you know, without reminding my, my fellow consumers of financial services to think and check
before you invest.
I remember that.
You know, that is an effective way to impose what I call market discipline on everybody in the financial sector. You know, and working with us, we will continue to do our best to keep the sector healthy and profitable.
That response brings us to the end of today's discussion. That was Everton McFarlane, Executive Director of the Financial Services Commission. Everton McFarlane, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It was great.
It was a pleasure.
Very insightful.
Yes.
Thank you.
And from Everton McFarlane, we go to today's fun facts.
Here are a few fun facts about money you probably did not know. During the Middle Ages, knights didn't carry money around because of the threat of robbers. Instead, knights wore special rings that would be used to stamp their bills. The bills were later taken to the knight's castle to be paid. Ever wondered where the phrase piggy bank came from? In Old English, pig, spelled P-Y-G-G, was a type of clay that was used to make jars and dishes that held money. The word cash is said to have origins in ancient China. The Chinese carried their coins in bundles on strings. A bundle of 100 coins was called one cash. The Chinese probably got the word from the Portuguese, who called their coins caixa. The earliest record of forgery was in 540 BC, when a warrior named Polycrates of the Greek island Samos used fake gold coins to pay the debt he owed. There were many unusual forms of money throughout history, such as the cowrie, which is the shell of a sea snail. They were colorful and durable, which made them popular money with civilizations around the world.
Whether you're a small farmer, street vendor, big investor, every entrepreneur, you got to wise about your money. You have to make sure say your money secure. When you need to grow, you have access to more.
Financial inclusion means that individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products and services that meet their needs.
Access to more money, more credit, whatever your business needs. When you work hard for your money must work for you.
Today's guest, Everton McFarlane, spoke about the roles and function of the Financial Services Commission, otherwise known as FSC. Let's recap his main points. It's time for the Fast Facts. Number 1. The FSC is a single integrated regulator for the non-deposit taking financial sector in Jamaica. Number 2. The FSC regulates general and life insurance companies, securities dealers, investment advisors, collective investment schemes such as mutual funds, and unit trust. Number 3. The FSC requires licensees to make periodic reports which are assessed and a judgment reached regarding the condition of the license. Number 4. If you have a complaint, you may call the FSC and request to speak with an officer who will hear your complaint and act accordingly. And number 5. The FSC reports to the Ministry of Finance and Public Service on matters of policy for certain budgetary matters. And that's it for our Fast Facts.
And viewers, as we say goodbye for another week of Centrally Speaking, please allow me to big up my mother, please. Miss Patsy, she watch every Thursday night.
Judith,
she
big
not
up
miss
yourself.
a show.
Big up yourself, Judith.
And I'm missing no show.
Thank you for being my #1 fan.
And thank you, Miss Patsy. Anyway, in your living room, or watch your TV.
I see you. Chances are I'm beside you, Judith.
All right, follow Bank of Jamaica on Twitter at Central Bank JA or on BOJ's Facebook page. And watch us again on our YouTube channel. You can also visit the website at boj.org.jm.
We also invite you to send in your questions on Twitter or Facebook.
And of course, we're there next week again, you know. Watch Centrally Speaking, the same time right here on your station when we'll have another special guest. I'm Anna.
I'm Sheena.
Thanks for watching.
Centrally Speaking is a production of Bank of Jamaica.